C++ provides a large set of template libraries. So if you do search for that, C++ STL means standard template library. Then here from C++.com, here is just some of those ones, like container type. We have used the vectors earlier, and then stack queue. Those are similar to what we have implemented in the previous lessons. The one we are going to use is a list a template library, and then this is required for your Trump project. So list template library provides details of this one. This one is a constructor, so you can create a list object by providing data type of the element. In this example, using namespace std was not given, so for each use you need to prefix std colon though. So let me explain using the actual program code. I have opened the Visual Studio Code. Let me create main.cpp. We need to include list template library there. Here. So first, let's create a list object for integer types. Let me create an object named M1. Now I can add using pushback. So meaning at the end of the list, we add data like that, and then I can push back 20 there. And then to read the data from the list, we need an iterator. So let me just push back another one. Then what's happening there is you can imagine as follows. So M1 is like an array. M1 is created. At this moment, we have three elements, integer 10 and 20. Three are there. It's more like array. But to read that, we don't have any direct access method like a square bracket index notation. We need to first get an iterator, which is a pointer. Iterator is a pointer to each element. So we need to get the iterator, and through iterator, we can have access to the element. So the data type of iterator is a lister, and int type, the type you declared for M1, and then there's a subclass iterator. So list int colon iterator is the data type of the iterator. Name of the iterator, let me give it. Then iterator to point to the very first element. What you do is M1 dot begin function call. If you call begin function of the M1 object, then that returns the address of the first element through iterator data types. Now it is pointing to the very first element. So star it, since it is address, if you do star dereference, then the value at that location will be printed. So we need to include IOStream for cout and the like. So that's all done. So let me open a terminal, G++, main.cpp. Let's compile that and let's run it. Then 10 is printed. So to have access to the next element, I need to do pointer arithmetic plus plus. Then that pointer moves to the next element. And then if I do cout, let me compile again that, and then 20 is printed. So that's a basic idea how to use a list standard template library, and then have an element access should be through the iterator. So let's have another list M2, and then let's use a loop. And then M2, let's do pushback with I times element 5 is pushed. So we have 10 elements pushed. Then how do we read using a loop? So first one is let's get the iterator and then pointing to the very first element. So instead of having int I, you can define iterator directly. So list double type iterator id and then initialize to m2 begin function. So by doing this one, we declare a variable it which is pointing to the very first element. Then it not equal to m2 dot end. End function call is past the last element. Okay? When you call end, it's not pointing to the last element, but past the last one. So then this condition setting is good. If it is not equal to the end, then it's pointing to somewhere within the list, and then we increment it like that. Okay. So this is one thing you need to remember, that end does not get you the last element address, but one past the one, just imaginary one, there's another one, and the function points there. So this is a good to terminate the loop. And then cout in the L there. So let's give some line break there to distinguish from this one. So let's compile and run. Then after 10 and 20, now those are printed by this. So here is an example of a loop mechanism to scan through the list using an iterator.